All right, you guys, so today I want to show you how to actually start your Final Copy pen and ink project. One of the things that you're going to be graded on is using multiple pen styles on your Final Copy, but I don't care, I'm not going to like count them, I don't care exactly which ones you use. I just want you to, as you're drawing, think about the pen styles that you're using so that you can have the nice textures showing in your work. This is a pen and ink drawing that was done by a girl named Naomi. She was an 8th grader the same year my daughter was an 8th grader. My daughter's a sophomore in college now, so it's kind of old. Wow. But she gave me this drawing to keep so I could use it as an example because I liked how it turned out. Notice all the values that she has in there. Notice all the different pen styles that she used. That's what's going to get you the best grade, by including, first of all, lots of lights, mediums, and darks. Second of all, using your pen styles to create the accurate textures of your picture. And then obviously neatness is going to be super important. Trying to make your picture as accurate to your photograph is also important. So those are the 4 things basically that you're going to need to do. This is a pen drawing that I did that's not finished. You can see I did start adding color to it also. This was from like a long time ago. It was one of the very first pen and ink demonstrations I did, and I still have it. So this was the original picture. This was my little version of it. And if you look closely at the scales on the fish, you can see how many different styles I used. Stippling, cross-hatching, scumbling, pretty much everything. But if you look at the picture of the fish, you can't really see all that on my fish. I did have to be kind of creative and, you know, almost kind of make things up, but I still stayed true to the values of the fish. So when you look at my pen and ink drawing and then you look at the real drawing, you can still see that the values that I chose were the same as the original photo. And that's what you're going to want to do too. So I have this picture of a dog that I started working on last year, and I'm going to continue working on it this year. One of the things that I want you guys to do, the very first thing before you start your inking, which I didn't do because you can clearly see my grid is still there, you need to erase your grid before you ink. Otherwise, the grid can become permanent in your drawing, and you definitely don't want that to happen. So before you start inking, I would definitely take the time to erase your entire grid everywhere. That's super important. But obviously your pencil outlines that show your animal or your, your picture, whatever it is, those can stay because you're gonna need those. I'm not gonna erase all the way down here because you can see I didn't do my drawing yet down there. But up here where I'm working on the ink, I need to get rid of my grid. Okay, so when you're working on your ink, one of the things that's super important is to keep your photo really close to the area that you're working on, because you need to be able to check to see if you're doing the right value, and I want this to be as detailed as you possibly can get it. I already worked on his eye on this side, and then you can see I'm working my way across his face, so I'm gonna continue working in this area for you guys just to show you the demo. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold my paper so that I can put my photo really close to where I'm working, and I can just look back and forth between the photo and the drawing real easily. Then I need to get my pen and ink ready. Remember to keep your bottle of ink on a paper towel and to push it as far towards the front of your desk as possible so that it's not within an area where you're going to knock it over with your arm. Dip your pen in once, touch it to the edge, touch it to your paper towel. I'm going to just slide that forward so it's not in my way. And then I'm going to see if I can zoom in here so you can really see what I'm doing. So you can see I already have this dark area, and I'm starting to do this area right here. The kind of marks I'm making are kind of a mixture between stippling and contour hatching. I'm just making little marks that show the direction of the fur on this dog. Since this dog has really short fur, I can make little marks because that's kind of the same texture that that dog's fur is. So up here on the top, you can see where this dark kind of fades out into light right there. And you can see I was starting to make it light. There's this little light eyebrow that's happening right here that I need to do too. So this light is not quite light. It starts a little farther down, so I gotta make this a little darker right here. Try to imagine what direction your fur is going when you're making little fur marks too, so that it is accurate. I kind of feel like there's some dark things that kind of stripe up towards that area. So I'm gonna make it, I kind of usually start out making it a little too light at first, and then I darken it as I go, because once you make it dark, you can't go back and lighten it anymore. It's not like a pencil drawing that you can erase it. If you accidentally make something too dark, well, it's just gonna be dark. It's just gonna have to be that way. You're not gonna be able to change it. Do your best not to let that happen. So up here it's really light. I'm gonna make these stippling dots really far apart up here, because that area right there is really light. And you can see there's like a stripe of dark and a stripe of dark, and then there's like kind of a stripe of light that goes up in there. But it's not as light as I have it here. I'm just gonna add in a couple of stippling dots just to bring that down, that value right there, so it's perfect. It's perfect as I can get it. Keep looking back and forth between your drawing and your photo so that you can check to see what you're doing is accurate. Right in here I can kind of see some lines. His fur, her fur is kind of showing right there more obviously. So I'm just going to try and get those in. Try and get that texture right there. So you get that feeling that the fur is going in that direction. I think I'm out of ink. Redip. Keep working. Every once in a while do a little distance check. Kind of step back from your work to see if what you're doing is looking right. So if I wanted to skip over and work on the eye just a little bit, oops, be careful I don't smear anything. I can show you a little bit of this kind of detail too. You can see I already penciled in where the little sparkle is on her eye. So I can fill that in. That's going to be easy because it's very dark right there. And you can see she's got kind of a dark outline, but there's actually two outlines. There's this inside outline, and then there's one that goes along the top too. That's darker. And then she's got this little dark triangle, and then she's got this white little line right there. And then this kind of splotchy area right there at the bottom of her eye. And up in here it's pretty dark. And then this part of her eye is shaded, but that part of her eye is bright. So in here, I'll use stippling to create that little shadow that's in there. Because I want it to be soft. I don't want it to look like there's fur on her eye. So I'm definitely using a different style of pen right there. Okay. So you got to see me do a little bit of work. Obviously, it's a slow process, right? I want you guys to spend your time and to really make it look as detailed as you possibly can. And I want you to really look at the whole picture and try to recreate the values and the textures the best that you can with your ink. If you don't want to use the fountain pens, you can use your own black pen. Just remember that if you plan on watercoloring, this one I wouldn't watercolor, but some of you might want to add color to these later. I would suggest using the fountain pen then, because the fountain pens are waterproof after they dry. But it's up to you, right? You can use anything that you want as long as it's black.